My friend, hello. My name is Wago Howard. I teach music in here, Hawaii. On Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. Generally on Saturday, I don't go live. On Monday, Tuesday, I like to do something around 9 o'clock Hawaiian Standard Time. Don't know what time it is where you are, but honestly, if you're hanging out here today, I just feel like writing a song. I'm feeling a little heavy today, and I want to get something out of me, and what that might be, who knows. When I go into writing something, sometimes I have an idea what I'm hearing. Sometimes I feel the melody first, so I write it down, and then sometimes I feel like the chord or the progression. So really, it comes down to trying new things, experimenting with the way that the process works. And long story short, I enjoy writing on a guitar because I think I'm the most fluid with chords and expression. After that, it would probably be writing on a piano. Not so much a hot piano player, but I do enjoy a little bit here and there. And then as far as like using circle fifths, I can see it laid out on the piano. I see it here on my fretboard. And then I kind of do stuff in the head, like remembering all the different notes inside the circle fifth. So I might even jump out of here and go over to the board and start talking about form, and then putting it into some sort of chord chart. I think it would probably behoove me if I had my iPad. I could even go ahead and write a little expression and then play along with it. That's really the coolest part about having a computer program or a technology. So, if you are a musician and you're watching this channel for the first time, welcome. My name is Wago Howard, and I hope you do enjoy it. If you don't like this kind of thing, there are many, many other channels out there to go watch. Have fun. You betcha. And honestly, I would like to answer questions about music theory. So if your name is blue or green, that means that you're a moderator and or a subscriber, and I appreciate you. Ask any question in any sort of video, and I will get down on that. If I don't know the answer to any of the questions, I will go find the answer. I will ask my teachers, and I will research it. The best part about having a channel like this is some people bring things to my attention about bands or music that I've never heard of before. So I've really been enlightened about what to watch. Other than that, today I'm going to write a little song. If I have some interaction inside this comment section, we might even write a song together. I'll give you a little bit of time to jump in here, and then I would just like to pull up my program. Program I use is called iReal Pro. iReal Pro is more like a teaching or a practice mechanism. However, I just really took to it. So I ended up just writing a couple thousand songs on it, actually 2,500 songs on it during COVID. And out of those, I would just like to go back through them and then put them into a writing program, write out melodies for them, and then arrange them, and then start recording. Hey Simon, how you doing? Simon, are you a musician? Do you play an instrument? Let's see here. So I'm gonna warm up, and hopefully this doesn't taint my brain. You know what I mean? Sometimes you play music and it taints you, ruins the expression, but I don't think it will. Dad is? Cool. If you have any interest, this channel does beginning music. I try to make it fun and exciting. Yeah, solid for sure. What up, Dainty Duff? I'm practicing getting my fingers. I feel like writing a song today. I'll show you my process. If anybody here is a musician, ask questions. That's what we're here for. If you want to become a member, and then you're supporting this channel and me, and I appreciate you. The best we can do today is hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and like maybe share this with somebody else. Yeah, I can play some Pink Floyd. What song you want to hear? But wow. Usually when people request Pink Floyd, I just play all of Dark Side of the Moon. And it really gets picking up there by yeah, and how about Comfortably Numb? You want to hear Comfortably Numb? That's a fun one. Yeah, hello. My strings are flat, super flat. That's alright. Hello. Is there anybody in here? Can you hear? Is there anybody? Just the basic facts, and you show me where it hurts. There is no pain you are receiving, no distant ship smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I caught a fever. My hands felt just like two balloons. I got this feeling once again. I can't explain, you not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Got to keep it going. Come on, it's time to go. There is no pain you are receiving, no distant ship smoke on the horizon. You're only coming through in waves. Lips move, I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. Time is gone, my dream is gone. like that one? I enjoy doing that. Ow! So let's write a song. Let's see here. Can I play Happy Birthday? Yeah, you know that Happy Birthday is actually a really difficult song to play, if you think about it. Do I know Super Mario 64? Let me get my memory banks. Put the game in. Logo comes up. Yeah, has that. Guitar principle, I guess I could go through it. Yeah, let's see here. Happy birthday. C major. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. We would go to what? We're in the key of C. Up to D. Happy birthday to you. PAC. Perfect authentic cadence. Speaking of that, Dainty Duff, Tiger's Melon, Simon, thank you for being here. Josh, yeah, let's write a song. Anybody want to name a key out there? What is a key signature? Gee golly whiz. Who knows? Let's go over to the board. Let's see if we can make heads or tails of this nonsense. So what I'm going to draw up here is called the Circle O Fist. Circle Fist kind of helps me register, see it outside my brain. If you've never seen this before and you're still watching, welcome. This is what members and I talk about. C major has no sharps, no flats, meaning the key of C, we'd say C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then our C again. Why? In music, we have 4 chords that are major, and then we've got 3 chords that are minor chords, and then 1 chord that has minors, but that's stacked in thirds. This one's called a diminished, and then we put a little circle here or a dot. That one is a 1 flat 3 5 5. So in here, when we write C, D, E, F, G, A, and B, these are all the notes for the family of keys. These are the major chords. When we keep going and we have D, E, D, A, and E, these are our minor chords. Major, minor, and then this last one's going to be our diminished. This is what the Circle Fist does for me. So when I'm looking at this key signature, I could go, oh, gee golly whiz, what do I want to do with these chords? Do I want to keep going this way and go flat? If I go flat, each one of these gets a little bit lighter. If we go this way, it gets a little bit darker in tone. Some of these are enharmonics, like D flat is C sharp, G flat is F sharp, and B is C flat. You can do them for all of them. If you kept going in fourths, C, D, E, F. Well, F flat is E. If you kept going F, G, A, B, B double flat is A. You just don't really want to put too much on here. The only other thing that I might do in the beginning when you're trying to learn tonality is put a shaka up here. Got to give some love out to the Hawaiian hammer. If you like Hawaiian channels, the Hawaiian hammer is awesome. Throw a shaka at that, brother. I love your channel. Thank you for doing what you do. C to A, that's the relative minor. G to E, relative minor. D to B, relative minor. We're going 1 to 6 here. This top position is called the tonic or the root. Subtonic, median, subdominant, dominant, median, subdominant, submedian, and then lending or leading tone. If you have any interest in this nonsense, I would say go to the channel and check out any of the Circle Fist stuff. It's kind of cool. So when I'm writing today, let's choose a key signature. Anybody in the comment section want to throw something out there? What key sounds good to us? Simply said, on piano, the easiest way to write a song is probably in the key of C major, just for the fact that you don't have to do a whole lot as far as the keys go. You get to kind of move around C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, so... almost everything sounds good. found G major has one sharp, that sharp is F sharp. I really enjoy using kind of like the moving in between C major. I like B flat major a lot when playing the piano. I had a hand injury about a year and a half ago, so it makes it a little bit kind of difficult to form some of these chords. So I start using shell chords, just 1/4, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. So if I'm doing something in, let's say, B flat major, I'll hit my roots and I'll try to come through and play my chord structures down here like this. It's much easier to see these chords for me. So let's write a song. How about in G? Unless somebody named a key section, I'm not looking at the comments. Okay, A flat, B flat. Yeah, okay, sounds good. How you doing there, baby? Baby 50. So, usually when I'm trying to figure out chord progressions, I'll just start noodling. So this is like our B flat. The chords in B flat or A sharp would be, I like the idea of A sharp. Let's talk about that in a second. So B flat major, C minor, D minor, E flat major, F major, G minor, A diminished, and then B flat major. A lot of times I try to stay centered when writing, so I'll do something like start a pulse maybe. Hear what a major 7 feels like? Now this is a standard movement. If you go back up, it's also a way of making a motif. Wrong notes are little doorways. So this is using G minor and B flat major. G minor is not just B flat or G minor, natural minor. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat. But when we throw back in the F sharp from the key of G major, G major, A minor, B minor, D, C major, D minor, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. What happens is G minor becomes harmonic minor. Ooh-wee! And listen to these chords. Fun. So I think out of a good progression, maybe we should throw out some chords or keys out there. If you're still enjoying this, we're going to be playing in the key B flat. This is kind of how I write a song. You get down on it. Billie Eilish, I want to learn. Yeah, have you checked out my channel? There's lots of Billie Eilish songs up there. I guess, I don't know. I've done at least 4 or 5, 8. Hey, good vibes to you, brother. Thanks for being here. 79. What do you like to be called? My 79 friend. Church. So how about we choose the key of B flat, like we just started talking about. If we were in the key of C major, we would have had all the really cool ones that are circled right now. However, if we're getting rid of that concept of the key of C, we would do the whole thing, but do it through the eyes of B. So let's move this. We can actually just keep this little box right here because it do well. B, here's our 1, 3, 5. Here's our minors, and now here's our major. Now, of course, this one, when we're playing this, is the one right before our B flat. So that's going to give us our major 7 chord. I'm going to go ahead and write all those notes up there because that's awesome. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, and then A. Notice that for your benefit, I'm putting up our chords that have minor thirds in them. as lowercase letters just so we can see them. Cool, now that we're kind of here, we'll write this circle fifths up here in just a minute, but I want to show you what it might feel like if we were just going to be writing out a little chart. I wish I had a better marker. You know what? That is the bane of my existence. Markers. Markers! Markers! You know what? They cost a lot of money too. But let's see what we can do with this. Oh, that's so nice. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's keep it there. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a little eraser, mark different marks here. I'm just setting up a grid so I can start seeing these as my chord patterns. I'm going to put a double bar right here. How about we play this one in, I don't know, how about just 4/4 common time? We're going to start off with one of our chords. Let's see what it is. Somebody out there name a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When doing this, we can set this out in our book, have some fun with it. Hey, what's up, guitars and such? How you doing? Hello to you. Kind of feel like writing a song. Gonna try to maybe nail it out on piano or go throw it there on the git fiddle. The whole idea is I'm feeling like getting this information out of my brain. One of the great ways that I find to relax is to try to write a song. So we've got our B flat major. Sounds pretty good, but it's super solid. If we view this through the eyes of the minor, we can do G minor to start with. That makes a cool major chord. Now we're talking some Pink Floyd chords. How about we just feel out our B flat and do a standard progression, see where this could go. A standard progression music would be like jazzy, 2-5-1. We would throw our minor, we would throw our dominant, and then we go back to our tonic. So it feels like we're somewhere, we went somewhere to definitive, and then we came back to a stable foundation. That's a great way to go through these, and then maybe we can make one last twice as long and do a little intro, outro. So let's see how this feels when we're pulsing. Let's start with our first chord. Anybody want to name a chord? Throw it on out there. Hey, Locrian song? Yeah, we can do that. We'll just base it off of the 7th. Okay, that's fun. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Aloha to you. Hope you're having a good day. Let's see here. Let's see if I can move this guy. I'm not using the energy source. Why not? Does anybody else find in life technology makes almost everything easier than difficult? As soon as I get ahead on one thing technologically, I get dumber or stupider or worse at something else. All right, so we got that 7 chord. That's great. We could also use the 5 as a 5 dominant. We might throw that out there like this. I use my diminish as more of like a moving tone. However, if we're using Locrian, we can use all the tones that would have that. So we've got a 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, and then flat 7. This one, mischievously, is the best of all of the half scale tones, I think. Although I do like myself a good old melodic minor. All right, so if we're going from the 5 dominant, which is essentially our diminished, if that doesn't make sense to anybody, when I spell F major, I spell it F, A, and C. Triad. If you see this channel, that's what I do. 1, 3, 5. When we play F, A, and C, if we add the 7th and we go from C here, we get an E flat. It's naturally in the key. Well, it just so happens that this triad that's built off the top of this, not the bottom triad, forms the diminished. A, C, E flat. So you get definitively this kind of diminished tone feeling anyways. So that's a great idea. So if we're going to write from there, come on, hit that. So yeah, hit that like and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. If not, I'm sure Marty Music is doing something. When we're doing this 5 dominant, it feels like our F chord is going to be playing our E flat. That's a cool chord to start on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Want to get a little weird? Maybe put in a chord that doesn't belong there. How about we go from here and then back definitively to our 1. When we hold our 1, maybe we can move our 1 chord. So to not make this a traditional piece, we could have something like our F dominant. We can hit our 1 with an F in the bass still, but a major. If we have our... That'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? We're playing a diminishment on our 5th, so we've got a flat 5. If we put the 7th in there, we have a chord that kind of feels like it's moving. So maybe we can play our 1
and then do like a major minor here. So we would basically have our major and we would make it into a minor by representing here in the 1. We could also call this an augmentation. That works. We can move it forward if we wanted to. That works. Or if we just keep it simple, we'll have our... I like the E flat next, the 4 chord. Maybe back to the 5 works. And as I'm going through here, I'm trying to hear melodies in my head, trying to pick out different things. Thank you for my music. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here and hanging out. When we're trying to kind of do this little principle here, I'm hearing melodies in my head. If we're going to be using Locrian, the notes we're going to start on are going to be A. So we've got A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A. So all those are relatively wonderful notes. Maybe that suspension, like a 4 sus chord, would be fun. I think that doing this for our motif, it would make sense to repeat our phrasing, our melody. So we started off with the F. Doing that again. We can do our 4 sus and then do a resolution to the 4 and hang out here. Let's see what that sounds like. How about going to the relative minor the next time? No, I don't like that at all. How about, there's our 4. I like that. So we're going to keep this motif going here. We're going to go to just the 5 chord, the F. We're going to walk that 5 chord down, so I'm going to put a slash chord. What do? We put an E flat in the bass. I know it feels weird, but this is the easiest way that I see to do that. When going from the E flat, we did a D7. Now here, the 3 is not a minor, but a major and a dominant. Ooh-wee! And this means that it can resolve to a G major or a G minor. So I think that's where we're going to go, but how long are we going to wait to go back to that? Locrian graduation? Yeah, no, we're going to throw Locrian over the top of this. We're going to use the Locrian modus to develop the melody line over the top of this. I'm already feeling a little major movement because over the top of this, what I'm really trying to feel is this kind of like... and it's just a glorified 4 chord. It's nothing special. And then our sus... with a little passing note. I think it should go to there. Maybe hold out the D a little bit longer. I'm going to put a repetition here. If you've never seen that, when you put a little percent sign, what am I doing? When you put a percent sign here, that just means to repeat the last measure. If you ever see something like this, whether it's on both sides, too, or sometimes you'll even see it on a writing program where it just puts it in between the line. I love doing that on my writing programs. That simply means if that was right here, you would repeat the last 2 measures right before it. It's a great way to visualize when doing chord pro. It shortens things very much. Very much. So the whole idea behind writing this out like this, it helps to imagine or visualize these notes. Jeez. Must have done something to the camera. My bad. Repeat this line. And then we're going to hit that 6. That's gonna feel so glorious too. You're gonna love it. And I think it should just hang out on the G. But then it's like, it feels like, we could use some of the same motif and walk down somewhere else. But if we were to do this, I would have simply just throw this out here. And then, yeah, you can do this. That works. That repeats that whole line there. Or, I think a simpler way to do this so it's more pleasing on the eyes is to just do our repeat all the way true. And then put a repeat here. And just repeat this. I'd like to do it twice. I think that's a stable amount of time to do this. So this is where we kind of decide, are we singing over the top of this? Is this going to be an intro? Is this something that I want to feel the whole time? I don't know. Sounds like Sister. What is that like? Hey, little sister. Oh, Sister Christian. I remember that band. Do I like that band? I think so. What was one of their famous songs? I can't remember. More extended timing. A dude looks like a lady. Charles Bronson. Dude looks like a lady. You know what? I like Aerosmith's music. I'm becoming to be more of a fan of the guitar player. I just always found it weird that he used his daughter as a sex selling object in the 90s to sell music. Now, different strokes, different folks, I get it, but don't know. It seems questionable. So here, I think that this might be some place to develop some sort of melody line. I don't know what to name this yet. I'm just digging on the feeling. Let's take a gander at it really quick and hear it, maybe through the eyes of a different feel. I think that's it. G minor, walk down. G minor, walk down. G minor in the bass to C. We could even utilize the sustain. Here sets it. We're going to be doing that. So G minor with an what are we doing? An F in the bass, you betcha. And then down to a C major, which here it's not a major, it's a minor. So we need to do an uppercase 2. And then we're doing a common chord modulation to the C minor, putting us back into the key. Now, hypothetically, I should be putting these double bars here, but I don't do that in long form chart because it becomes overwhelming. Does that make sense? Gee golly whiz, I'm getting so excited. Are you? If you do like this kind of content, can I ask you to hit that like button? Can I ask you to hit that subscribe button? And if you have a quick second, share this with somebody if you think that it would annoy them or make them happy. Either way, I'm good. When we're doing this, I'm walking it down. I think this might be the end of my motif to go back up. So let's hear it from the tap. I basically wrote La Bamba. There's our diminished chord. And we're going to make that floating motif, the same thing right here, repeat itself. This is kind of where I feel it going. Does anybody have any objections with this? Would we like to kind of put like maybe the locrian into it? We've got this. Let's slow it down just a little bit. I like that melody very much so. Getting back with the chop and broccoli feel, if we were to do like a that thing to have a little bit of sustenance. Well, ending a song or a phrasing on that note is the best way, surefire way to do that. Surefire way, for sure. Disturbing my feed. I think we might need to sit on this one for just a minute. Hey, are we still live? This thing's still going? Well, I think this is a good stable foundation. I'm going to give everybody a minute just to play around with this. I've got somebody outside I need to talk to. Talk amongst yourselves, would you, don't you, want you? Aloha. I do apologize about that. These are my office hours right now. So let's get back to writing this right here. What we have is an expression. We've got the first part in the key of B flat. We've got 5 dominant into the 1 chord doing a setup. It almost feels like a pickup measure, like in Anacruxis. We've got this to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord. And then we're going to play the 5 as a passing chord back to our 1. And then we're going to play the 4 as a sus, resolve it, and then to the 5. We're going to walk that 5 down using the E flat, and then we're going to play a chord outside the key, the D dominant, adding in the C. So that passing chord should really be in our melody. Well, if we're working with the modus of Locrian, it is the 3rd. So maybe we could have like a... something that reflects that. And that feels really kind of melodically interesting. So we've got this like, feels like Hungarian minor right there too, because it's got 2 close notes. Sorry, I can't ever help but not play and have fun and jam. That actually might be one of the motifs. This whole section here could be just a jam section. It doesn't have to be 2 repeats. It could be like 24, which is a stable amount of time to be like... But I do love the D dominant there. Into the minor. Fun. And then here, I would say there's a drastic switch. Rather than playing just with Locrian over the top of this to fill some sort of melody, I would say that doing a harmonic minor right here would be best suited. Slow, fast, anything. That's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to have a flat 6 here, right? But then we're going to have our natural 7. And I'm not going to write the natural note in there, that accidental, because I don't want to throw any of us or myself when I'm reading it. So I just leave it off. Now I see that viewing it just like natural minor, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, but now we've got that raised leading tone or lending tone, therefore it makes a little bit more sense to kind of feel it develop. I think that we're going to make this into 4 repeats, so I'm going to put times 4 here, and since we were doing that, then I'm going to do it here, just to see how that feels, and now I'm going to throw back a little bit of melody, see if we can have fun inside of that section. Retardando. It could have wings there. I might need to sit on this one too. After going from that groove, we have our 6 chord, our 6 with the F, and we'll get back out of it. We could throw out our major 2 there, which would be our C major, gets us out of our groove, common chord modulation, and then into our diminished. Back going. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe a little insight will hit me during the day. Tell you what, I got a student coming up here in a little bit. I'm probably going to sign off here in a second, get myself a little bit of grub. Did anybody have any questions about how I wrote this out, how we picked the key signature, what we did, and how we're going to be writing a mode? I think I'm going to save this. Can somebody name this? Throw me a name out there. I'll throw it on this thing so when I take it and put it into my iReal Pro and I write the chords out, I can just name the song and then go back. And I could go tab this out. I've gotten kind of quick and proficient at the iReal Pro that's on here. Hello, Eric. We're naming this song. I know you just showed up here, but is this the Eric Avery? Like my buddy Eric Avery here on Island? We're naming a song right now that I just wrote. If you just showed up, it kind of has this feeling to it. Not really, but... About as far as we've gotten to this part right here. Got a cool name for it? Oh, cool. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Hey, if you've got time, well, this evening is the jazz ensemble. Probably. Do you play any woodwinds, or do you play any reed instruments or brass? If you do, show up tonight, 6 o'clock. Other than that, the first Friday is over at
one gallery, and we play live at that art studio down there on the boardwalk. If you want to show up for that, that would be fun if you got time in your schedule. And then Saturday, this next Saturday is going to be the workshop here. So if you want to show up, it's going to be a holiday get together and jam. So if you like holiday music, we're going to be turning all of these songs like Old Lang Syne, Angels We've Heard on High, Frosty Snowman into like bossa nova, jazz, stuff like that. It's kind of fun. And then that whoever comes here could be part of that project. We're going to try to do it every year and then start gigging over at the hotels and stuff. Try to make a little holiday money. Other than that, can somebody please name this song so I can put it into my iReal Pro, and then I'll go back and I will write this chart out. I think one of the best ways to do it, see this is, I would probably have this as, not that this is a verse, but this feels more like it's an A section. If I was to do an intro, I would probably do like one of these vamps in this, the G minor or the diminished, both kind of having their own similarity. This one feeling a lot of tension. This 5 dominant or the diminished building way more tension than it should be. For this one, I have the double beam here. It ends my section right here, so I'm going to put a double beam. And we're going to be doing this directly into the G here. This is where our secondary play starts. I need to put a double bar to show it's the beginning of this section. Since it only really goes to here and it's doing its thing right here, I'm going to put a double bar. Here's where the next section will start. And I'm going to put a double bar to show it's the beginning here. And then it moves into this section. It's not like this is separate from here like this was. This looks an awful lot like our B, but I can't name it that. In my mind, I would name it a BB, but that's not really how you name this kind of stuff in music. So you would name this again as a D. It just is another extension. You can have as many as these as you want. General songs that you look at in, I call it pancake song. I'm making pancakes. Excellent. Pancake song, pancake song, pancake song, pancake song. All right, that's what it's named then. Thank you, Eric. Pancake song. And composer, this guy. And the comment section. Big shout out to Guitars and Such. Thanks for helping me out there with the modus and the key signature. And Mark the Shark, thanks for being here too. Eric, I know you just jumped in, but this is kind of where we're going. I would say this goes through pretty well. It leads well into here. Here's where a good jam is. You know, because we're going here and moving this out of here. Oh, you know what? I just realized that is not correctly written. This would be our C, different section. This is a continuation of this. Here's where it ends. Here's where it begins. This is a common theme that I have. I always try to see that this is moving 4 times, but then it moves out of that and utilizes the same chord. There's no flow. It doesn't go into a different time signature or a different key signature, so it stays consistent. And that's how I would read it. You know, after this, moving down to our major second, the C, to our minor second, the C minor, and then into the diminished. Maybe this shouldn't be that long. Maybe it should just be at the end of the song. So I would take these repeats away. I would end the measure here. I would put a double beam or double bar down on here. And then eventually, I would probably just be like this. D, C, Al, Fine. This whole thing's going to be done twice now. When we get done with this, it's going to go all the way back up to the top, and then it'll work its way down here the exact same way it did. So here, we would do our harmonic minor. At this point, over the top of this, it would revert back to our Locraine. And for those of you who are like, hey, what's this guy with the beard doing right now? A whole bunch of nothing, just talking some music theory. I mean, honestly, we could be spending our time doing anything. I wish I was actually eating pancakes. Oh, my wife is back at home right now. Well, then I should say hello to her and that I love her, that I hope she has a good day. I thought she was working today. So I'm not going to put this in swing. I was feeling this slower contemporary around 80 maybe. And then it kind of had like a, what was that feeling? I guess over there, kind of like that bum, 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 bum. It kind of had like a bossa nova feel to it. So this one most definitely is going to be in the key of B flat major or G minor. Has more of a G minor. And because we put it through the eyes of harmonic minor, I probably would feel better writing this, when I do write this into the iReal Pro, I would actually view it through the eyes of the G minor. So rather than putting like a 5 dominant here, it would change the way that I write the chords, but all of the chords would still be the same. They would just be viewed through the eyes of that
size of that minor. So cool, a lot of good stuff today. When we're looking at these moduses, if you haven't quite figured this out, let me see here. Let me write my first chord and then save. If you haven't quite figured this out, when you're writing music and you're trying to see like what modes are and like how to go over the top and improvise and to kind of feel it out, the whole thing, what I was trying to explain is each key signature, if you start in the key of C, has triads. Each one of these, when you play them, if you play just the chords over the... anything you play in the C is going to probably sound pretty good. Any chord that goes over the top of itself exhibits tertiary harmony. Even if you add a wrong note there. That would give us a minor pentatonic, but in the key of C, it builds something called D Dorian. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So the note that you're using, D, is either called a sus or a 9. Sus. And now we've got like, how about this? We've got a 9 chord, C9. No matter where we play this, even if we include the third, we're deriving or we're pulling our ear naturally away from our chord. So it's causing dissonance. And it sounds weird until you fill it in with the triad. It makes no difference if you're in the key of B flat major, which exhibit 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, and then 1, 3, 5. The only 2 black notes in this entire thing are fourths away. So when we're learning, every single triad or chord on the piano can be played by a 1 and 5. So to get really good at feeling out where your 1 and 5s are, right? Then you could just add your third, major or minor. And that leads, if you have a minor third, throw a flat 5. You start getting diminished chords. This is the easiest way to understand chord theory. Major, minor, diminished. And then most people never get to there. 1, 3, and sharp 5 isn't augmented. So being able to move through a F7 chord to a B flat major chord, to an E flat major, and then to an F major, feels good. The progression is a natural thing. Now you could put secondary dominance in there as well. The chord going into F major would be C7. So you can do something like but it feels a little too classical with all the chords moving. In fact, might want to get rid of some of the actual movement I was doing, like a playing around harmonic minor. Four measures. Da, 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 that still is harmonic minor there. If I remove that F sharp, that would be our low created note, because all of those notes would be centered off of the A diminished. Anyway, that's what I'm going to play around with to try to figure out a little melody line, throw it back over the top of this. This is kind of how I write when I have no direction. And when you write 40, 50, 80, 60, 100 of these type tunes, inevitably the chord progressions start making sense in your head. Now, I'm a bassist by trade, so Eric, you must understand this. This is a little complicated, overwhelmingly over the top, and I didn't understand this when I was playing a lot of bass, but now that I do it on guitar a little bit, no, a lot of it, and then a little bit on piano. What happens is it raises the level of music analysis in the moment, and it allows creativity to view these notes, low created or harmonic minor, and it doesn't make a difference whether you know this or not.
It's just really kind of like itching that little part of the brain that's like, oh, this is a thing. And the thing that I really love about music is it always will be exciting. I don't know if I will ever know everything there is to know about music, but it's always a wonderful challenge. And when meeting people that have a little bit of music theory behind it, it's always fun to do stuff like this because you speak in a different language. So if you dig on this, subscribe, put something cool in the comment section, maybe share this. I would love for people to watch the live stuff because it just shows locals in our community hanging out. I try to get out there and support local music, and I run a few different workshops here. And I'm very, very grateful to Lauren and Spencer at Big Island Guitars in Hilo, Hawaii. So if you are here visiting on Island, pop by, say hello, and hang out. Other than that, I hope everybody has a great day. And then later today at 12:20 to 1:20, I will be back on here to do a members-only content. What we've been going over are the foundations of musical theory. We started with what notes are, how to view triads, and then how to wrap this up. Basically, one of the themes that we talk heavily about, because it's something besides charting and understanding what relativity is how to actually view your circle fifths. And each time that I do a video, I try to make it informationally positive, and then hopefully go back on it, have a little bit of introspect, and see how I could do a better job teaching and or understanding. So last thing I want to show you is in the key of C, when we had no sharps and flats, if I change my relativity and just put my B flat up here, this circle still works the same. So if I were to go from my B flat and put the F and then the C and then the G and then the D, do you see where I'm going with this? All of my notes are now still the same, but they've moved over as far as the relative. Oh, I wrote that way too big. They've moved over as far as the relativity goes. Now I've got all these notes to go backwards this way. I've got my E flat here. When I go back, I've got A flat. D flat is my C sharp. G flat is my F sharp, and then C flat is is my B. When going through here, yes, you can consider keep going like A flat is G sharp. So C, C, D, E, F, G. It's still the circle fifths, circle fourths. But now, instead of having C at noon, I've got B flat, which clearly explains what my 1, 3, 5 is, my 1, 4, 5, my 2, 6, and 3, and then the diminished. I hope clearly you can see that in this song, we used the 1 chord. We definitely used the 4 chord. We used it as a sus. We definitely used the 5 chord. We used it as a moving tone or passing tone to go back to our 1 chord and or the relative minor. When we played the C minor, we used it as a major, so it wasn't just a minor second. It was also used as a major second throughout here. Beep, beep, boop, right there. And then sometimes I'll even put these in a different color if I'm playing it on a chart or sheet, or if I'm giving out music to somebody to make sure that they really know what key we're in. Yeah, there are room for the 1 or 2 chord substitutions, absolutely. That's kind of the idea going back on here. I might sit on this all day today, and then when I go to write it out, I may be like, oh, I didn't like this at all, or I think the phrasing of this is weird, or I might change the modus because of a melody note. There wasn't a D minor in here, was there? At all. So we used the major. We didn't do the same thing as far as tonality shift here. We used that as a passing tone to get to here, because the dominant D7 would have gone to G major, and because G major and G minor are the 2 closest notes out of all, D, F sharp and A is major, D, F and A is minor. Therefore, C, E, G, C, E flat, G. And then we definitely used our diminish here. So going through our circle, I think we did a fine job. We just did not really utilize the minor here. We used the heck out of this guy. And then as far as chord substitutions or even putting something in, we tried to use a C7, like a major 2 as a dominant, to feel if it could go into the 5 chord. It just felt a little bit busy when trying to go through this. So when looking at this, here's what I'm seeing. We did not use, we did not use any of these, which means if we wanted to do a chord substitution that was out of left field, literally, we would be using something that was far away from the process. So here's what the chord progressions look like. That kind of gets us back to where we are. If at all, we could have swapped out one of those. I mean, what does a G sharp sound like if doing this? Oh, that's a good change of tonality.
So, as Eric just said, I think maybe we could use this G sharp because we're writing in, oh no, sorry, we could use it as a flat. Because we're writing in a key of a flat, it makes more sense to call it a flat. So G golly whiz. Right here, before we go to the E flat, we can share. Here, this is an A, right? Well, what is the A in the key of B flat? It's the 7. Well, did we play it as an A diminished? No. We played it as a sharp. So when we do this, we would have our 7, we would move it up and see how our G is right here. That's actually what I was naming it. In the key, we already have an A diminished. When we're doing our A flat, we would be utilizing this as the flat 7, and we played it as a major. And I gotta squish this. So here's our 7, right? V, I, well, now I'm just a dummy. Jeez. When we have our V, I, it's a major, hence the uppercase, and then we've got our flat, and then it went into our 4 chord. Therefore, we can utilize something from the other side of the circle, and it still feels good within our progression, kind of. How does a C sharp sound? Woo! Woo! So how about this? Maybe here where we already had our C major, we could see the G minor with the F and see if our C sharp works there. Let's just try that concept out. So we've got our... Nah, don't like that at all. So this is the process onto which I go through. When I have students that are in different phases of writing processes, this is always the last thing that I try to get them to. If you can visualize any song you write as being just like, you know, baby, baby, 1-4-5 kind of music, very radio edit stuff, you could then go back and make little substitutions which change the music fundamentally from being something which is just run-of-the-mill, same old, to something which has character and has pizzazz, and it's yours because you did it, you wrote it. So if you enjoyed this today, and I hope you did, keep coming back, maybe subscribe, do something cool. What up, Peter Lewis? Oh, Gabriel. Hello, Gabriel. I can play Scotland Brave on the piano. Can you play the song called Scotland Brave, please? I don't know that one, but I will learn it for you. Let me write it down. Scotland Brave. Scotland Brave. Who would buy there? Oh, it's a pipe and drum, traditional. Nice. Cool. I will look that up after my stream and listen to it. Eric, it was really cool seeing you here. Can alter the bass note and change the chord. Yes, I can. You know, when trying to see something like a triad with an extension, if I change one of those bass notes and I put it like an inversion and I throw that 7th down here, that's fine. Sometimes I really like passing notes as far as my bass. As I was before mentioning, Eric is a bass player, wonderful bass player, wonderful musician. When I think musically, I'm always thinking about moving those bass lines or those bass tones because that's kind of like the instrument that I feel and moving. So a lot of the time when I was playing in the beginning, I didn't understand the notes that I was choosing or not choosing, then choosing to put in were our leading or lending tones trying to get us back to the core. So by watching other people play and playing with some good musicians, what I learned was how to pick choice notes and try not to play over the top and like try to complement. And one of the craziest things that I found was that lending or leading tone from a key, using that 7th moving back in or back into the minor. I didn't understand what I was doing, but it was always the thing that I tried to do as a bassist. So yeah, absolutely, changing those lowest notes for sure. What should you learn first thing in music theory? Maybe check out this channel or just Google glossary of vocabulary. When you have some terms that you start working with, it makes more sense. Like, what is a note? What does the word duration mean? The next thing I would probably do, not to get into a diatribe, but I would learn the foundation of musical vocab, and then I would learn just the foundation musical consonants like this, knowing that this is called the G clef, and that when you play a note here like this note, it's a quarter note, which means you would need to know what a whole note is, a half note, what quarter notes are, what eighth notes are, and then you would want to know all of the divisions. Like you could go up to 16th notes, and then if you're able to see these 16th notes and you know how to count them, it makes sight reading that much easier. It takes years off of sight reading when you can go 1, 2, 3, and you know how to count out a whole note, and then half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we count eighth notes, we say 1, 2, 3, 4 because that's the downbeat. But then we add an upbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and. That's still exhibited in our 16th notes, except now we put an E in between it. So if you have 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, this is kind of what helps you to divide everything. And then my second advice, play drums. Whatever you play, always play drums. You might suck in the beginning, but knowing how to play percussions and doing stick work also helps to understand and subdivide it in your head. My advice to you, learn your notation. Learn the notes that make up music. It's how it's written. Learn what we would call the staff. Turn those staffs into clefs, like our treble clef. Learn the bass clef, and then get a teacher. Find somebody like myself or somebody online that does a channel. Face-to-face is better because you can learn. And know where all your G's are. Know where your C's are. And then when you see C, E, G, you could go, oh, well, I know where all my C's are now. If this is a G, that's an E, that's a C. If you go here and put a C, that's going to be an E, that's a G. It keeps working like this. You figure out what all your ledger lines are, and after a period of time of knowing the notes and then reading very simple music like Frosty the Snowman, you start to realize that there's a connection between notes, intervals, and as I said, getting a teacher is probably the most integral part of doing this. Other than that, if you have a piano or capability to get like a little glockenspiel, learn the key of C. No sharps, no flats. When you play or do this, I showed on this channel as this, it's a 1, 3, 5. If you could play any 5, you can find the chords. The only chords in piano that do not have an equal white to white, black to black ratio are B flat and B natural. B flat goes to F, black to white, yeah, and white to black. Yeah. And each one of these is either a major, sus, major, minor. Learning chords, 1, 3, 5, 1 flat 3, 5, and then 1 flat 3, flat 5 are all the chords in every key. Starting off with C major allows you to go to other keys. And the truth is, 5 minutes a day goes a long way. When we look over it here like this, the reason why I know B flat has 2 flats is because when I take that away, I know that B major has 5 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. I'm completely fluid in saying it. And I was completely fluid in saying all the chords and names and notes of all the scales before I knew how to use them. It is really interesting when you learn the vocabulary, how when you learn a concept, you're like, oh, and then that aha moment or that chung moment, that moment of like, oomph, we call it a realization or a coming to moment. It just really is the coolest. It's the bestest. I hope that helps. What should I learn first? What are the thoughts on Justin Bieber? Because he claims he didn't learn music theory. Justin Bieber is just another human. If you want to hear about music, don't get it from Justin Bieber. I would say go get it from Eric Satie or Frank Zappa or Dave Brubeck or India R.E. or Tracy Chapman or Mendelssohn, Chopin. I don't know if Justin Bieber is the best resource for music theory. Also, that's a program. That's sex and music. That's capitalism. That's not really music. Baby. Anyway, I have a student here in a little minute. I'm going to jump off the string. Thanks for being with me. I hope that last little diatribe was something interesting. You could always learn more. Oh, you're good. You do play drums and percussion. Wunderbar. Having said that, yeah. I think the next step is maybe get a teacher or find a channel you just really love and just watch the heck out of it. A good way to do that on my channel is to timestamp videos. So if you find a concept, if you Google my name, Wago Howard, and maybe like negative harmony or circle fifths or melodic minor or anything, go into there, watch the video, and if you find something interesting, timestamp it. Be like, oh, cool, talks about at time. And then that helps other people just go to that right there. Well, I can leave the stream on, but hold on a minute. Let me take a look at my schedule. Baby. I have a student at 10:35, and I've got to get some grub into my belly. How about this? Subscribe to the channel, become a member, support my dream, and I will help you the most I can. But yeah, the best thing I would say is if you got any time you're a drummer and you have sticks, make sure you have a stick practice book. I know it's backwards now, but this is stick control. It just talks about how to do different rudiments. When you can learn how to do different rudiments with your hands, you understand a little bit more about percussion. If you're doing guitar, check out my channel, or Google my name, Wago, and teeter totters, or spider exercises. They're the first foundation of music that I teach every one of my students. I've got like a 90% success rate. I can teach old dogs new tricks. Other than that, I think that a lot of times I find people get overwhelmed with the complexity, and the whole idea is it's kind of mental as well. View it as one day at a time, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, pick a concept and do that. So if your concept is just to learn like C major, like on the piano, if you got a piano and you're like, I don't know how to play piano, but I know that this is C major. Kind of pulse it a little bit, right? And then play your scales. Now move it up a note. Hear how your D minor still works over the top of it? Eventually, from doing rhythms like this and trying different movements with your hands, you'll see that everything you do in the key of C can have an easy way around the board. And if you go out of the key, you start to experience a different concept. You're like, well, I know that note is not in the key of C. Well, what is the F sharp in? And if you do anything in music, you're like, oh, well, it's the first sharp added to the key of G. So F sharp diminished feels good going into a G. Or D major, which has an F sharp, has a 7, feels great going into D minor or major. So the whole point of doing what I do is showing that you only need to know a little with a little and a little and a little. And it's just like if you're frustrated mentally in Zen and you can't figure out how to get out of your hole, and you see the light above, that's good. That means that it's not esoteric. It means that you're not just stuck there. You see the option of going. If you're sitting in front of a canvas and you're like, I don't know what to paint, the first idea is paint something. Have a brush stroke. If you never paint that brush stroke, you're never going to create the next painting. Isn't that makes sense? So there's a reason why artists put a canvas and then they put a base coat down on it. Just the act of doing it starts the process. Well, the act of doing today, I didn't know that I was going to be playing an F dominant into a B flat, into an E major. I didn't know that we're going to be changing that tonality with a sus and then walking it down. But hopefully this melody will be in my head all day and I could write a little something out of it. Marcin, I watched a post about somebody who did something who was pretty famous, and it turns out they were stealing licks. They were taking people's stuff like this that I do and like slowing down the music and like showing it as their own, which I don't care. I've seen a couple different artists out there that are pretty good though. Anyway. Thanks for being here, and thanks for jumping on at the last minute. Eric, if you're still there, it's good seeing you in the comment section. I would love to see you in person at one of these workshops. And if nothing else, let's get together and jam. It would be so much fun. I've tried to set up a jam session with a gentleman named Kimball, plays keys, has a little band called The Hypnotic Reef, and he and his drummer, John Scallion, I think that's his last name. Yeah, I played with him a couple times. A lot of fun. It would be really cool to see a really mean bass player on there too. Anyway, everybody have a great day. If you are here in Hilo, Hawaii, come by and say hello. Big Island Guitars. We're over here hanging out. I'm here Monday, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. And then check out the website. There's like 13,000 videos. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Very nice. And then I don't really know what to do. Right now we have quantity on this website. I've got a website and a Patreon thing starting here, and I just want to figure out what I can offer that people are really going to enjoy. So that's my quest. Aloha.